Hello, welcome to Arcus and Tenebris. Uh, Last time, uh, everybody, we resolved our lore dump, and the group received a new associate to their cabal. There was still talk about what their cabal may or may not be called, but it was not a pressing issue, and things had kind of settled down after the the artifact heist and the uh, dealing with the werewolves and the archmages. Now, it's been a couple of weeks, but so things have kind of settled down. You've gotten to know Jimmy, and without telling you how your characters would be responding, but he seems to be settling in well. And seeing that it's been a couple weeks, you guys have moved on to your personal projects and all that, and there one day, oh darn it, we're in a second ago. Good thing. One day, Arthur gets a visitor to his office. This is it. This is a middle-aged gentleman, but you can tell that he has definitely been under a lot of stress recently, but also prolonged. And he goes to introduce himself to Arthur, saying, "Hello, my name is Archie Williams." Arthur.
Uh, yeah. So, okay. So he's in. Uh, Hello, and Arthur will. What time is this, by the way?
I'd say that it's probably late morning.
Okay, I'm assuming that he's gonna be in. He's gonna open the door. He's gonna be in his office. He's probably gonna have some a mess on his table from whatever he's doing. Hi, he's kind of like uh pushing it to the side and trying to make it look presentable. Good morning, Arthur Pendergast. He's gonna hold out his hand.
Yeah, and he shakes, and he he asks if he could sit down.
Arthur nods. Like please have a seat. Tell me what brings you here.
And uh as he sits down, and he kind of like, when you sit down, you kind of like have a involuntary exhalation of breath, because like your diaphragm compresses a little bit. With that, as you are going back to your side of the desk, you definitely smell that he has been drinking. Uh, but that being said, you didn't smell it uh, until he went to sit down, which kind of suggests he tried to, you know, like take breath mints and stuff to try and cover up the odor.
Is there anything else about him that looks like does he I mean he's been drinking, but does he look drunk? Is he like were his words slurred? Is
No,
he
his words aren't slurred. It's uh you kind of get the impression that it's either left over or maybe he took like a swift mouthful before outside the door to give himself courage or something like that.
Oh, okay, right.
So, he sits down and he says, I hear you take unusual cases or cases that you know most of the, forgive me for being honest, higher end detectives don't take.
And Arthur nods. Yep, that's me. You know, well, whatever you need me to look into, I'll look into. It's weird. It's just unproven, right?
And with that, he kind of like starts fidgeting, and looks down at his hands. And he says, "I have a bit of a unusual case for you. And you can tell he's trying to. He is trying to embolden himself because he is very nervous, and perhaps has a either guilty or or a touch of shame you get. And he says, I would like you to investigate the disappearance of my daughter.
Your daughter?
Yes. I guess there's no other way to say it. When she went missing, I reported it to the police, and after they took my statement and did preliminary stuff, investigations, they immediately came back to me and said it is a crime to it is a crime to waste police time and not to bother them. And I was immediately confused about that, but the officer who I was talking to was extremely belligerent, and I was pretty much afraid to talk to him directly. I then went to one of your competitors, and they came back to me once again soon thereafter, and they were not happy also, and it was through them that I discovered that there is no record of her. There is no indication that she had existed. As a matter of fact, I had went back to my place, and after dealing with that, and started trying to find pictures and such, and everything about her was gone. And I've been going back and forth, worried about my own mental state and the disappearance of my daughter. But I as keeping going through everything, and everything was gone except I live in the house that I raised her. I'm sorry, I hadn't explained properly. She is a adult now. She had gotten out of college recently and had gotten a job as a temp assistant until she could find a more, a more appropriate job for her. But so she's not a child. We're not having that kind of concern, but she, absolutely everything about her, every picture, every note, absolutely everything in my house about her was gone, except when she was a little girl. When she was a little girl, she had a little hidey space, and I pretended not to know about it. And out of desperation, I went to the little hidey space, and I had found her diary, and it's very clearly hers. She even mentions, me a few times in it. But yeah, it's from when she was a little girl. And at this point, it's like the only thing I have that she existed. No one believes me. And you probably don't believe me either. But I am at the end of my rope, and I don't know where else to turn. So I'm hoping that either you can help me or can show me how crazy I am. Because how does somebody disappear from existence? Their entire being just up and gone. I don't get it. And at that, he kind of like starts looking down and fidgeting in his fingers.
Pendergast at this, he nods. I'm not sure. I really don't know. It's interesting, especially since you like you said, you did find the diary. But I'm willing to, put in some effort and find out.
Thank you.
I guess the first thing, couple questions. Does anybody else that you know of, well, first let's start with the basic. What's her name?
Her name is Julie. She had decided to take her mother's maiden name. So Julie Singer.
I see. And does anybody else has anybody else, like I know you said a lot of her things have disappeared and there's no actual, and you guys can't find records, but have you talked to anybody else that she's close to? Have you asked her mother about it? Is there anybody else that you've talked to about her disappearance?
Unfortunately, her mother passed when she was a teenager. That's part of the reasons that she took her name, was so that she could remember her mother better. So unfortunately, her mother isn't here anymore.
I see. And is there anybody else that she was close to, or anybody she was seeing? Do you know any of her friends that still remember her, or who realize she's not around?
I could not find as I said, no one seemed to know. No one seemed to know her, and as an adult, I wasn't really introduced so much to her, to her friends, but I did know her childhood friends, and I tried talking to them, and they didn't even. Before all this, they knew me through my daughter, and they didn't recognize me. It's almost like she didn't exist to begin with, so they had no reason to know who I was.
I see. Does he have? Did he bring the journal with him?
Yes, he did.
So Arthur's gonna ask him that. Did you bring your daughter's journal? May I see it?
So he reaches into his pocket, and it is one of those very childish, like about four by 6 little tiny pocket journals with a little clasp on it. It isn't locked, but it's little kids, diary journal type thing. And he hands it out to you, and you reach out for it and grab it, and he continues holding on to it, and he says, "I want you to understand that I am literally giving you the last piece of evidence of my daughter's existence. I am begging you to be careful with it." And with that, he lets go, and and lets you take it.
So I guess the first thing I want to do with it is like, does it just the feel of it? Does anything, like, looking at it? Do I notice anything different? Like if
Like
feel
like if it's touched by anything.
Yeah, like I'm gonna look at it with Prime and Prime first
Well,
of all.
I'm. I'd like to point out before you do that that is doing magic in front of a witness.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Even if it's through a screen.
Well,
Okay.
it's one of these. Granted, it's only sensing it and all of that. However, you've got to remember that in order to, unless you get to a up to Arete 3, trying to even a sense, you do require to do something. And so let's say your attempt to view it is like through your phone. It's still actively doing magic in front of a sleeper witness.
Which, right. Yeah.
Now it's pretty coincidental, but it's still in front of a witness.
Right. Well, I mean, just
And he can understand that you want to like move forward on it, and he's like willing to leave it behind. Barely.
Yeah.
But
Okay. I guess I'm gonna nod to him, and like this journal is safe with me. But I'm gonna look into it first thing, because missing persons, it does take priority. But like I will need to kind of like close things down and start doing some research for it.
no,
Okay.
I understand these things take time. I'm just I'm just really glad that someone is moving forward, at least attempting to move forward on this. And if you find there's nothing, then I will accept that there is nothing to find. I'll take the journal and go, but I just needed somebody to take this seriously. So please do what you need to. I am normally a very patient man. So please, take what time you need.
Thank you for understanding. I will do my best.
So he's ready to leave unless you have more questions for him.
What does like just in general, like, is there anything about his appearance or the way he's acting that stands out as odd, or is it all just like it's all in character? It all fits with the with his story.
Let me look at something really quick. Come on. Let's see. That seems like that would be a perception. Let's see what it would be. Empathy roll, a perception empathy roll to really get a handle on that.
Oh, my perception is 2, and my empathy is 3, so 5. Let's see if I remember how to do this.
It's been a while.
No.
Yeah, 1 second.
Use /dice roll, then you will get a few prompts.
Dice roll.
Yeah, if you
5.
You know,
Oh, wait,
when I did
dice?
that, it make the numbers color up and everything.
So if you hit slash and not anything else, a window should come up, and the top should be there should be a slash roll. And
Oh, come on, it hasn't been that long.
yeah, 5d10. Yeah. No, that is. Oh, I did that wrong. So it's been a while. Sorry. There you go.
Oh,
So-
okay, I did pretty good.
Yeah. I'm gonna say that he is pretty haggard. He has you can tell that he has been going through something which matches up with what he's been saying, and he really does seem like you can't necessarily tell, through that role whether what he's saying is true. You can realize that he believes it and that he has been going through something pretty hard for a while. So with what he has told you and his appearance and mannerisms, they would seem to align. So it is definitely, if you were to guess, you would think at the very least he believes it or believes something very close to this.
Oh, okay. So, I mean, after that, does he leave or?
What, unless you have more questions for him.
Oh no, I can't think of anything at the moment. But I mean, I'm assuming he left me his number so I can.
Leaves you contact information and all that stuff. But yeah, he seems sincere that he what he says and what you're able to pick up from him do align as to likely that at the very least either he is going through something or his delusion is telling him that he is going through something. Because just because you're crazy doesn't mean you don't believe it. And you've gone through enough as a detective that you have run into people who did believe that something was true when it wasn't. You know?
Yeah.
So everything seems to match up, and he leaves.
Well, there's gonna be two things. The first thing is I'm going to just scan that book in every way I possibly can, with Prime and
with all of your spheres.
Yeah, I just kind of like
okay.
Like a blanket scan to see what I can find.
Okay, well, with Prime, all you can tell is it is what it looks like. It's a journal and all that. With Forces, you can see the rate of oxidation on the paper, and the rate in which the ink dried and all that. So of those two parts, it seems normal. Through Spirit, it's a book. However, through correspondence, you can tell that this is an object that is connected to someone, and it is not the man that gave it to you. That it is not just a book that somebody wrote in and then kind of put away. This is an object that was attached to someone, that someone put some time and effort into and part of themselves into. That being said, once you get that, I assume you attempt to try and follow the connection. Yes?
I mean, well, first I'm good. I mean, I got it. Is it like a cord that I follow, or do I see like an address on my phone? If it's correspondence, I'm looking at it through my phone. I don't know if it shows up on a map or how that appears.
Honestly, that's up to you. That is how your magic expresses itself, and I say that is a player's prerogative to tell us how. I can tell you how far it goes, but
right. Okay.
As to how it's expressed, that's up to you.
Okay, so I mean, I would think that it would show up on a map.
That is the problem. As soon as you try and follow the connection to this other person, you come across resistance. As though the person that this is attached to is hidden from view. Now, if you can give me another, if you can give me a correspondence arete roll, I might be able to give you a little more.
Sure. Correspondence is 2. My arete is 2, so that's 4.
Okay. So my roll for you, because apparently we're kind of having.
No.
So unless you want to do it yourself, because
Oh, you can do it.
So with that roll, I'm going to say that you've experienced enough that you can tell that the method in which that the connection has been obscured is magical, as in magely magical.
Let's see.
Another mage did this.
So what I'm going to do is I'm gonna go. First I'm gonna text them and text the cabal, the group, and let them know that. Just give them a brief summary about the case. Father came in. Kid's missing. There's no traces but a book.
Well, his daughter is missing. She's an adult.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess like he. Yeah. Okay. His adult child is missing. Let's see. Client came in. Adult child's missing. There's no trace of her physical, or nobody remembers her, and the only thing that they can find is a book. Oh wait, no. Before that, can I just do an online search? I mean, of both of them. Just
Sure.
To try and. Yeah, I should have probably started that like the mundane first.
I'm not going to tell you how to run your character.
Yeah.
So
would that be?
I think that would be wits investigation, which would be 6.
Yeah, 6.
Let me do this first. You know what? I say that thematically fits. All right, so you're able to get something on him, but nothing on his daughter. As far as what you can pick up, you can tell that he was that he went to an engineering school, that he was employed by a company that was not of note, and that's about what you can get. That's about what you can what you can get. You basically, all that you were able to kind of get from him with that role was like his LinkedIn profile. So like he's done things professionally, not specifically tech savvy. We're talking about physical engineering, but other than that, you don't get much.
did I find proof that he was married, and did I find anything about his wife? I mean,
Consider.
no,
I was gonna
roll
say,
if we need to.
considering that role, I'm going to say, you find references, but you don't find anything about her. And you mainly through context clues, you could tell that he was married at some point, but that's about it with that role, you know.
Yeah. Okay, so I mean, back to the previous plan. I'm gonna message the group and say, hey, I got a question. I've got a father came in, said his adult daughter was missing. She's got no online presence. He can't find any objects of her, like pictures, and nobody else seems to remember her. I've got a possible lead that I'm gonna try and follow. Anybody have any ideas of where to go from here, or want to meet me? And then I'm gonna send that, and I guess if I can follow the correspondence, because you said it was like I can't get the location, but I can kind of have like a thread, right? Like I
Well,
see
no-
kind of like a direction to go.
Well, no. You can tell that this is basically what you can tell is this is this is an anomaly of the magic. It should have removed this. So you're dealing with someone who used correspondence magic to had some you're dealing with someone that used correspondence magic to obscure this person's existence.
Okay.
And which, as far as you are concerned, you have had very limited you've had very limited contact with you had very limited contact with any other mages other than the two retired archmages and no, pardon me. Other than the two retired archmages and the escaping mage that brought you guys together.
Right. Do I know? So I do realize that it is like it is at least connected to correspondence.
Yes.
Like in character, can I tell that? Like,
yeah, you can tell that this is correspondence mage magic at work.
all right, then new plan. I'm going to tell them that I got a book from a father whose daughter seems to disappear. It seems to be mage related. Anybody want to come and meet at the sanctuary to have a look at it? I'll send that text out.
I reply, sure, I'm waiting there.
Tatiana?
Yeah, I'll come down.
So you get together. I'm going to. You didn't really ask this, but I'm going to say that he told you about his daughter's, who he knew she was connected with. What he knew about her employer and her major in her majors and interests in college, because you didn't really ask that. One of the things that he said was she was a very extremely well gifted she is looking to be a physicist, but she hadn't been hired by any place yet. However, and he says this with a little bit of pride as a father, but he says she is very gifted in the fields of physics and theoretical physics and all that. But like all college graduates, she's kind of like uh, wading through employment opportunities, and she was acting as a temp to cover the bills until she actually found someone in her preferred field.
What was her preferred field?
Theoretical physics.
Physics.
Theoretical.
He
So I guess
he also did mention uh where she went, and a couple of her professors, but once again uh he among all the people that he went to talk to, nobody seemed to remember her, but he was trying to be thorough in explaining her background.
Right. Right. Well, I should have asked, but when he was explaining her background, was there anybody in particular that he said she spent the most amount of time with? Like, was it like she spent a lot of time with a particular teacher, or was she with her boss a lot?
Uh, while she was
I mean,
in college, she was very driven, and spent a lot of time in the lab with uh, with uh, with with the professor and other undergrads. Um, but once again, in his own personal researches, they didn't remember her. However, he did tell you he did tell you where she did study. She studied at Caltech, and but she moved back locally to help to be closer to her father, which is one of the reasons why this has hit him so hard. It would have been devastating either way. However, she moved back for him, and uh and now she's just this has happened.
I mean, I can go out. I can go to one of those after. I guess that's on the to-do list. Is check out the schools and all that. But for now, I'm gonna go with the group just to see what they had to think about it.
I guess I will be in the sanctum in the lounge area.
Jimmy's also there, but because he is
Yeah.
an NPC, he will wait to speak until after everyone else has talked.
My character would know that correspondence can make people forget, right? Or am I imagining that?
Not not basically correspondence magic focuses on connections and things that connect people. Having people forget, generally that's more of for mind. But now that you are like, now that you're thinking correspondence and all that, you start going like, well, correspondence would take care of connections, and if no one remembers, that would be working through mind magic, unless there was another thing at play. But that would also have to affect all these people in her life, which means it's going to be a lot of work to accomplish that. So, with putting that together, you're like, okay, well, this was not something that was just done and then people could like dust their hands off and move on. This was a dedicated effort.
Trying to decide which of my abilities would help the most here.
You said you felt some resistance when trying to correspond with the book?
When trying to follow the connection, it is being obscured through mage magic.
Can we determine what kind of magic?
You can tell that the correspondence sphere of mage magic was used for that. I should also note that that he would have let you know that she worked in El Paso, but she was at his place often enough that she did have a footprint in Las Cruces. So for our audience that is not from the States, El Paso is right across the state border, and is like about a half hour away, depending on which side of the mountain you're at. So he would have also given you her. He would have also given her her residence address. He would have given. He would have given you the. He would have given you the address and names of her, employer and stuff like that. So,
Did he give me
what?
her phone number? Did he give me her phone number, like what her phone number used to be?
I'd say that's definitely something you could have done. You do have the number. What are you looking to do?
I don't know, because I know that with the sympathetic magic, it worked with the eBay, tracking them through eBay. So I'm wondering if I try calling it and I use correspondence, if that'll get me anywhere. or if that would just like hit a wall with the barrier too.
Uh, so, are you looking to do this mundanely or with magic?
I mean, first I'm gonna just call the number to see if anything happens, and if not,
Well,
then I'll just try it again with them.
just calling the number, it it gives you the standard. The person who the person who is attached to this number has not set up it gives you the standard, line of this phone is not connected, this phone is not this phone number is not being used, blah blah blah, and it's just calling the line mundanely. I'm not so sure how much more information you can get, but it kind of gives you the standard rigmarole. There, this number, the owner of this number is not accessible, type of thing, which I believe is what the phone company would say to anyone, whether the number is being used or not.
Okay. I guess can I try it again with correspondence and see if anything. Well, can I use like correspondence and Prime? I guess to see if I can see the correspondence and Prime, so I can see if like I can see the Magecraft in work. I don't know if I'll get anything out of that, but maybe.
I think what you're trying to do is trying to push against the obscurement, which is something that you would do with the diary rather than any of the number, because a phone number, although in the modern concept it does quote unquote connect you to a person, it is still very impersonal. And it sounds like what you're trying to do is push against the Magecraft. Is that what? Am I correct in that?
Yeah. Yeah, or well, I thought I was curious about the number because I figured maybe if it's since it's like an active thing, it might be.
Oh, it's
to,
not
like,
an act. It's
through.
inactive. It's inactive.
Yeah. No, but like it was an active action on my part. That's what I mean. But yeah, I guess I see what you're saying is that either way, the Magecraft is still passive.
Well, no, okay. Perhaps I didn't explain this properly. The phone number is inactive. Going through mundane means, the phone number is not attached to a phone.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I see what you're saying. There is no connection there as far as like normal society is concerned.
And if I can be blunt, even through magic means, that's all you're doing is ostensibly deleting the number from the from active use. That's not that big a thing to do. So that would be kind of a that's not an active action, I guess is what I'm saying. Is
right. Oh,
the phone number could just be like, oh, that connection's deleted. But if you are trying to push back against the active thing, I'd say that is what you're posing is possible through the diary, in theory, but that is that is a active uh, that is active interaction against against another magic. So
Oh,
you could, I'll let you try, but that would be a opposed action.
um, okay. Before I do that, I'm gonna look at Titania and I know this.
Fluke?
Uh, I'm
Fluke,
sorry,
Right? Fluke?
Luke. Because I keep wanting
Yes,
to call him
indeed.
Luke, but I'm like, yeah, is that right? So yeah, I'll look at Titania and Fluke and be like, well, do you guys have any ideas on this?
I could possibly dream on it.
Maybe if we all work together, do some funky correspondence thingy and get truth obfuscation.
Jimmy's happy to help.
Don't know how safe that would be.
Well, no, that would be I
I mean,
guess
we're
what
in our
you're
sanctuary.
yeah you're in your sanctuary number one. You are trying to do a group action, and you are trying to
Well,
work.
it's more of thing I had in mind was more like, well, we're pinging them. They can probably ping us back.
Um,
If you understand what I'm getting at.
I'm
Like,
afraid I don't.
if you point out with a torch, you can see shit, but stuff can also see you.
Oh, um.
Oh, it's like
Oh, so you're worried about
conjuring
the person that did this may notice that you're pushing back against it, is what you're concerned about, yes?
Exactly, and trace it back.
Well, I guess the generally speaking, the way mage magic works is you make you force the world to do what you want, and then that's how it is, generally speaking. So it's sort of like a set it and forget it type of thing. So I don't think that the person who did this magic is keeping it actively up. It's just the effect is already out in reality. Now, in theory, if they go back and check the connection, which they don't necessarily, that unless they are alerted by any other means, they may not do. I guess what I'm saying is you wouldn't necessarily think that alarms would go off if you tried to push through this obscurement.
So, what do you guys want to do then? Do you want to try focusing or the together or the dreaming? The dreaming is probably like, I think the dreaming would probably the dreaming served us well before.
Well, when it comes to like the dream, that that's more like looking at reality and events as is, and that I guess what I'm saying is that is not going to oppose you against something. So in theory, you could do the dream, and basically you would get information. You wouldn't necessarily affect the obscurement. So I would say attempting the dream would if you're trying to keep things passive would be more the way to go, at least. And you don't need to do either or. You can do both.
Both sound good.
I can go ahead and, like, if I do the dream, I could focus on how to get around the mage block, or I could focus on where the person is. But I'm thinking in terms of difficulty, it's probably easier to focus on how to get around the block.
With how it works, I would say it would trying to get around the block is less of a is far more complicated than trying to read into the person, what happened to them, and where they are. I would think that would be a lot easier through dream than trying to find technical answers, I guess is what I'm saying.
So you're saying it'd be, in terms of rolling.
In terms of rolling, I would say focusing on the daughter would be far more rewarding than trying to find out how to get around this block. So that would be my suggestion, is focus on the daughter.
Okay. So I guess I'll go ahead and just focus, do some Tai Chi, and try to see if I can't hone in on her.
Does dreams have a roll, or do you just do it?
It's the dream. How many points of dream plus perception? So it would be 6 dice.
Alright. Rolls. I can do it.
Proper rolling channel.
You want me to roll for you?
Hold on.
Alright. Digital dice. They save so much time.
How many successes do I need?
Actually, I think that, it would be more likely that you do the roll and I can tell you if it passes or not.
This one was a difficulty between 2 and 7.
Just do a straight roll and I can tell you. Okay, well then, hot damn. Okay, give me a minute to. Actually, if we could take a little bit of a break while I work on this, let's do a bio break real quick, okay?
That sounds like a good plan, right?
Sounds good.
All right, we're right back. Okay, this is a little different than with the dead ghoul, because with the dead ghoul, their story was over. This is something that is still moving forward. So that you get that feeling before you even get more than a second in, is like, this is still moving. But because what you know of this person, you're kind of like, okay, I have their childhood diary. So you kind of like start from that point. So you see this 7-year-old girl playing with her toys, and then you see her like you see her life in fast forward. You see her start to go through puberty. You see hours of study. You see passion in all these aspects of her life where she seems driven and moving forward on sheer force of will. You then see her academic life and going to college, leaving the state where she was born and raised to go to a prestigious school where she did very well. But during her later years, her academic credentials and her academic progression ended up being stymied because her professor started having problems at home, and they were not paying attention to her work, and as such, all of her ability to get better grades and better accolades, and the people in her life that would say, this is a person going places, didn't get informed because her professor and all of the people associated with him were distracted by something negative. You don't necessarily know which, possibly a very bitter divorce or repeated tragedies in the family, but the professor's focus wasn't where it should have been. So her ability to progress through academia was stymied. Regardless of this, she still was able to graduate, but but everyone who would have already known her name through her excellence just wasn't informed. There was no one to let them know, pretty much. So after that, you see her mounting frustration trying to find work in her field of study, and she just could not find purchase because everyone in her field was more focused on wonder kids, people who were well known in their field. So although she was vastly superior than her contemporaries, her ability to get somewhere was just stymied. This did not deter her, however. She continued to do so, but in the interim, focused on started doing temp work. So during her work hours, she was a office temp, but in her off hours, she was driven on finding a stepping stone in the realm of theoretical physics. she started falling into a depression because she felt, justly so, that she should be moving, that she should be doing better. And in so doing, she got more desperate and started applying less and less to prestigious posts. But this still did not deter her from trying to move forward. But out of the blue, a company that she had never heard of contacted her, and they decided to try and have her apply to her. I want to say internship, but that's not really what they're doing. It was more along the lines of a
Extern.
I was going to say, there was a prolonged process of a prolonged acceptance process. Like she had to go through a bunch of you have to study this and tell us your thesis on that. You have to they gave her a lot of oddly academic, like, find the solution to this. And the more she did it, as odd and frustrating as it was, the more cohesive her work seemed to become. And everything that she did seemed to have a connection to what she had done previously. And everything that she worked on seemed to have a connection to a divergent form of string theory. And as she was working on this, she could tell that they wanted her to get to a certain
candies.
They wanted her to get to a certain solution. They wanted her to discover something on her own, but they wouldn't tell her anything about it. They wanted her to be able to pick it up on her own. And the further and further she worked on it, the more and more odd it seemed to fit together. There were aspects of it that seemed to interact with other aspects that on the surface would not make sense. And the further she worked on this, the more it seemed to make reference to this weird form of string theory. Until one day it hit her, and she understood everything. And it takes you a moment to realize that she awakened, that that this process of study and connection and all that, it was to awaken her. And once she awoke, they brought her into the greater conspiracy. And as you start seeing her connect to this, the dream destabilizes. You can tell that there's more, but you're shocked out of it. But what you were able to discover through this is you were able to discover the business that she had gotten attached to. You were able to discover the location of this business and the contact information for this business.
Okay. So I stop my movements as if I hit a brick wall.
Yeah.
And I kind of look at
Arthur, I think.
Arthur. Yeah, I kind of look at Arthur with big eyes and like, she's awake. And I said, there's a company that guided her to it, but she didn't realize that's what was happening at the time. And so I go ahead and give him the information of the company that she was prospecting for.
Prospect, that's what it's like. So I'm going to say that this is the point that Jimmy, your NPC Cabal associate, pipes up and goes, "Oh no." And goes, "I think I know what happened." So, you remember when Ronnie told you guys about the other groups out there? Well, this sounds like a classic technocracy headhunting job. Now, I don't know what they're doing now. And they're split between, they're practically different organizations now. But what the technocracy used to do would be, if they found that you were, that you were either awakened or semi-awakened, and that wasn't the terminology that they used, they would basically bring you into the organization and then delete you from sleeper society. You would become like what would be like traditionally known as a man in black.
Was this like usually a willing thing?
Yeah, they didn't do it to you unless you accepted it, but generally speaking, with the type of people that they would work with, showing that what they had access to and what they could do was so interesting that practically no one walks away. They were free to, up until they're willing to join. Once you and you can tell that he's trying to balance his past history versus his personal feelings on the matter, versus trying to give you guys a even statement. And he's like, the technocracy the inside of the technocracy is, you know, a very it is a meritocracy, but it's a communistic meritocracy. Your purpose is to serve the group, and all of your benefits and all that is sort of dependent on your willingness to serve and how well you serve. And it even goes into your personal affairs. They even arranged marriages and stuff like that. And now I don't know what they're doing now, but that's sort of sounds like how they used to operate.
So, in a sense, she's been assimilated into a board.
Or a cult. And then he stops and he says, "Well, the mundane concept of what a cult is," because he realizes that, you know, he sort of has a cult of his own, and he realized he was sort of bad-mouthing himself. But so it's like a cult, and then he kind of winces and goes like, "Sort of."
So my question, Arthur, he's looking at the book. He's like, would the fact that this book was left there be proof that she's a part of her wanted to get out? Do you think? Like she purposely left it there as a cry for help, or is it more that they just didn't find it? And
yeah. Jimmy says, of their method of modus operandi, you would not be covering up your own past. This is more likely that this was overlooked. The thing that concerns me more is how her father remembers her at all. Because he would be one of the first things that they would have focused on. That's the weird thing to me.
Unless she told them that she didn't have family anymore.
No. Part of what they do would be, basically erasing memory of her from people she associated with. But one of the first people that they would do would be her father. But her father remembers her. That's the weird thing.
And is it possible? Well, let me just try it and see if you say it's possible. Can I use Prime and Correspondence to just look at the father to see if his pattern is like off?
I mean, I guess what I'm saying is, are you trying to like view him remotely and then sense what he is?
Yeah.
Oh. That sort of sounds like that's two different roles to me.
Okay, I mean that's fine too. Like that works.
Okay.
I have 2 in both Prime and Correspondence.
So
Let's see.
So I think what you're looking for would be Correspondence Arete roll and then Prime Arete. You want me to roll it for you?
Sure.
Alright, so slash and they're both. And
Four.
they're what D4. Okay, so you're able to view him remotely. And let's do this again. Okay.
Oh, that was even better.
Yeah. Well, he's as soon as you like try and like I'm going to say that so how are you viewing him?
Through the phone.
Through the phone.
Screen.
Through the phone screen. So it's sort of like, he's being viewed with an invisible drone. Yeah?
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to say that he's probably at work working on his computer, doing like Tinkercad, CAD software type stuff. So that's where he's at. And you turn on the ability to view him through Prime, and he's weird. He is you don't know what you're looking at. But a lot of what you're looking at, you could tell that he is an amalgam of a couple things, but they are pretty much all they're not active. It's like his genealogy is not active. The word is evading me at the moment. Basically, his genes are inactive, but you could tell, like the genes.
It's the opposite of phenotype. Right? That's what you're talking about.
Yeah, you can tell that he has his genotypes. His genotype is an amalgamation of like about 2 or 3 things that are not normal, but they are not active. You would kind of guess that he has lived his whole life not knowing what he is, and you don't even know it. You don't even know what he is. But in his pattern, you can see that there are. Well, you did get a couple of exploding. I'm gonna say that you notice that part of what he is it's similar to, but you do not understand how it affects him or why. But part of what he is similar to the werewolves. It's just recessive. That's it. It's like all these things, all these aspects of him are very recessive, non-activated at all. So part of what he is connected to that energy of the werewolf spirit connection. But it's recessive. It's never been activated. It's there. And viewing that, you could tell that there are like about 2 other recessive parts of him that exist, but there is you don't know what those other two things are because you've never been exposed. You don't know what to attach them to. It's like realizing that the picture that you are looking at has a visual representation of binary. You know that it's binary, but you don't know what it says. You know, it's like that's something that doesn't belong there, but you don't know what it represents. But you do also realize that it's that these all these aspects of him are recessive. He probably doesn't even know they're there. And the other thing, one of the other things that you sort of notice is once again, he doesn't seem to realize it's there, but you see evidence. Once again, with this role, I'll say that you can kind of put this together. But you can tell that he is, he is on the cusp of awakening. It wouldn't take a whole lot to push him through, but so he's just, there's a lot of like potential in him to do all that. So your guess is he had the reason why he remembers is he has a lot of things cooking in his pot that aren't doing anything on their own, but because he got hit with when he got hit with this, it just kind of like bounced off of him and he didn't even know it happened. So yeah.
So I'm gonna be like, well, this is weird. So I'm gonna flip my phone over and show everybody like, what do you guys make of this? Any ideas too? Because it seems like it's a lot.
So I assume you're telling me what I'm looking at?
Yeah. Yeah, that's the other thing. I don't know if we can.
Oh, you know what? It might be like you probably have mind to need like a level in mind to be able to communicate stuff like that, huh? Like...
Yeah, because your methods of interacting with magic are different. So, I mean, you could tell other people what you're seeing and what you're seeing represents, but it's like looking at the Matrix if you don't know coding,
Right.
You know that it's supposed to represent something, but you don't. It's just for you, it doesn't necessarily make sense with the visual. Because unless everybody is a part of the working to see that, I'm not sure that everybody could. So I think
that makes sense. So, I mean, I'll explain it to him. That was a good catch because I'll explain, like, this guy's got layers to him of stuff that does not seem to connect and like part like the stuff that stands out. Amy, what do you think about that?
With how you describe it to him, he's like, I have never heard of this. Okay. He says it's possible. It's possible to. It is possible to be multiple. It's theoretically possible, I guess, and you can tell that he's sort of like backpedaling. There are exceptions. There are certain energies that do not work well with each other. Like for example, if a mage is turned into a vampire, their avatar shatters. All right, because they're no longer alive. So that type of connection doesn't work. But in theory, you could have a connection to Arcadia, and you see he backtracks. He says one of the Fey folk and be awakened. It's possible. And it's one of these, in theory, I guess. Because he's really looking at this. I'm like, and he doesn't like he doesn't like. This is like, treading on a whole bunch of different waters all at once, and when you're dealing with people who work in theoretical fields, they really do not like putting themselves in a position where they can like be quoted as to say, well, you said that this was a this, and it turns out that they were inaccurate. So that's sort of the situation. He's like, I guess you could do this, but he's really like hedging his statements because he doesn't want to be wrong. And at the same time, you can kind of tell Jimmy's like, but if this did work, if all of this stuff wasn't recessive, that's a dangerous combination of things to be dealing with. Like having a mage who was a werewolf, who was also Fey touched, who was also, that would be a very dangerous person. So much so that bringing him into our world is putting a giant target on him. We would be doing him an extreme disservice if we pushed him in any of these directions. Yeah, yeah. This would be a dangerous, he is in danger and doesn't know it. And, the fact that he doesn't know it is the thing that's saving him. I don't know how we would want to proceed with this. Because even telling him what happened to his daughter, even if she's happy, even if she's living her best life, exposing him to her life now is putting him in incredible danger. Anyone who has any concept of wanting to like have any power, like who would be thinking that they want to carve out a chunk of the world for themselves and have a little fiefdom, would look at him and go, he's too dangerous to let live. So, I don't know how we want to proceed here. Because it seems like she's happy in her new life. But I don't know what we want to tell him, because it seems like he is on the verge of a big shitstorm. So, yeah, what do you guys think?
I would think that in our interest and in this father's interest that we just come up with something along the lines of we
Give him a
that
happy
he was
eviction?
seems you should definitely keep him
He needs some
unaware.
kind of closure.
Yeah, so we need to close this up for him well enough that he doesn't go looking for her anymore. And also try to
Well-
avoid this blowing up in our face. Because if he really is what you described to us that he is, then for our mundane terms, he's a walking nuke. And we are
That's
more than likely be the collateral, if it's not even an antimatter bomb.
yeah. It's yeah.
What do
Politically,
what does the
he is.
party think?
Yeah. Tatiana?
What's
I,
that?
I mean, he did say it. You can't hear me?
No, I said who's your client? Sorry, I was gonna say something, but I was mumbling and yeah.
I mean, he did say that if I told him that I can't find a connection to her, he will stop. But the thing is, like, I don't know if I believe that, and like, there's always gonna be like some doubt. And if I mean, I don't think we can. It'd be a good idea to try and mess with him because like if he's so close to turning on. So I would personally like to look further into his daughter, at least make sure she's okay. Even if like find her and see if I can actually like verify that she is at least happy and okay as far as that goes.
So you want to know what her wishes are?
Was it? Is there any way you could verify that it was her actual wish, or is it like I don't know how to say this, a cult induced wish?
Oh, you want to make sure that she is doing this of her own free will, as opposed to being, as opposed to
Pushed.
being pushed toward this.
Yeah.
Well, I can tell you the impression Tatiana had of it. You can tell that when she discovered what was going on, what had happened, and all of that, she was overwhelmed with the possibilities, and saw this as Tatiana got the impression that she got the impression that she was overwhelmed and was more than happy to revel in this new world. And although she may have been a little disheartened that she had to cut ties, you could tell that that was a price she was willing to pay. Whatever that says about her, but at least from what you were able to get, she seemed very willing in this affair.
Do we know where she is?
At the moment, no. But you do have some leads if you want to really follow this all the way down to the ground. But at the moment, you kind of have, you know, all the information that you really need to make a decision, I guess is what I'm saying. Yeah, I mean, like, if you wanted to, like, hunt her down, then, number one, that exposes your group to their group. And given what Ronnie and Kurik said, you're not, you may or may not want to do that at the moment. And since she is willing to do this, so whether at the moment you're like, well, if she's willing to do this, you kind of be like, well, I may, want to respect her choice. And at the same time, looking at the potential fallout, that may put more of a lens on him as to why he didn't forget. And if you can figure it out, they'll figure it out. And that's just as bad as letting him know and bringing him into the world of it.
Yeah, so he's in danger either way.
Yeah.
And I mean, Arthur's like, he is, for all intents and purposes, an innocent man. So we can't. I don't think there's any moral way we can let anything or cause anything, mostly cause anything to befall him that would put him out of commission. So I think for now, the best course of action is to follow this a bit deeper and see maybe if I can find her and at least get some of her initial thoughts on the matter. Like, talk to her face to face.
At this point, Jimmy will be like, okay, I understand where you're coming with that, and I understand why you want to do it. But if you interact with her, you are telling her and her organization her father is aware of her. And if you, unless you want to officially say, hi, we are a cabal working in Las Cruces, we were able to realize that you exist, hi, and open up diplomatic relations for good or ill, then that's about as far as you can go. Because if you are like, hi, person who is part of a supernatural conspiracy to change the world in one way or another, you don't know me, but I know you. Are you happy with your life? Do you not see?
Really the way, is that really the way we would proceed, though?
I'm just playing
I
devil's
mean,
advocate
like,
here.
because if he came out of the shadows, in a trench coat and a fedora, with a cigarette, saying,
I don't know if Arthur smokes, but he is a detective.
well, that's what I was saying.
I mean, yeah, he does. That's one of his focus. So I mean, if he's smoking, then he's at least going in armed.
There is that.
Well, I mean, for now, maybe get okay. And then he's like, he holds up his hands. Okay, maybe like going right up to her is kind of a bad move, but I still think I should find her and at least gauge it a little bit with some more information, because if at the very least, if I try my hardest and I can't find her, then that means that at least we know the father won't find her. So literally all we need to do is get him to stop talking. And I would feel better with that if I at least gave it a good, I couldn't physically find her. I would feel better than that, and I think that
So you want to?
I'd be able to. I'd be able to lie better if I knew that I tried to find her and I couldn't find her physical presence.
So you want to run this down as hard as you can through mundane means to make sure that you cannot find her. Yes?
At this, he'll pause in character and he'll be like, "Yeah."
No, that's me. That is me, the storyteller, trying to
okay,
understand what you're saying.
Yeah, that's what he's saying. He's like, "Yeah. I just want to make sure that it's not possible to find her. Like he'll never find her."
Okay. All right. So, 1 second. Let's see. I'm going to say you're going to give me a series of rolls.
Okay.
I'm going to have you do a search of either wits computer or intelligence computer to absolutely make sure that her online presence exists or not. Then I'm going to need you to do a intelligence or wits investigation to see if she to do a gumshoe in search of her presence. Then I'm going to need you to give me a wits or intelligence law roll to see if she has a legal footprint. And then I'm going to have you give me a wits or intelligence politics roll to see if she has a footprint. Now, this may not physically cover all the possible ways to do it, but I'm going to say that all of these rolls will indicate the exhaustive process that you are going through to try and find her mundanely. Does that kind of make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
So...
Now, I should also note that you can definitely use willpower, to help ensure that you get these rolls through. But that's like about that will like pretty much heavily eat into your willpower pool. Just letting you know right now.
Alrighty. When you do willpower, is it before or is it also like after the roll?
It's after. It basically allows you to re-roll your failures.
All right. So first is the computer, and that's intelligence 4.
If you want, I can assist with the computer.
Okay.
Sure.
Yeah.
And Ryder, would you mind doing the roll? I got 6 in that pool.
So
it's intelligent plus computer.
Yeah, intelligence or wits, whichever is higher.
Then I also have 6.
Was it 12 or is it just like 1. I don't.
Okay, first let me do your roll. Okay. So that is I'm gonna say that is 4 successes. So
On the 7 too, right?
yeah.
Okay.
So that's that. That's enough to pass. Now next I said investigation, which would be the same roll, I think.
Yeah.
So,
Thanks again.
okay. So that's enough to pass. Now I said law, which would be 5.
Law is, yeah.
I'm going to say that that's a flat neither win nor loss. Unless you want to like spend a dot of willpower.
What did you say the other rolls were? I know it was it research?
Politics. Then you've only got one left after this. So
Yeah, I'll use a willpower on this one.
okay, so
And how do you mark willpower? It's just you click the box underneath, right?
yeah. 1 second. Yeah, you just click the. Sorry, you click the box.
Making sure.
All right. I'm sorry, but you can't tell. Because with the re-rolled dice, you have your one takes away from your one success. So I'm gonna say that you don't know. You cannot say with 100% certainty that she cannot be found that way.
All right.
And the next would be 5d6 for politics.
Finally, politics comes into play. Oh, and law too.
Okay, that's a pass. And law. So that would be that again. So that's a pass. So you are incredibly certain, except for that one field, that she is not findable. But there's that one chance.
Oh, so it was just in computers that he found her?
Well, no, wait a minute. Oh no, wait a minute.
Because I think he found her on every way but law.
Yeah.
Or unless like
So every way but law, she cannot be found. So she may or may not have a legal footprint. Even, digging deep enough. So, but I guess what I'm saying is there is a possibility, a very, very, very small possibility. However, he did say if you tell him that she doesn't exist, he will drop it. So basically, you are banking on your ability to recognize his sincerity in that statement.
I can always come along and talk to him. I'm a very chatty person.
Okay. So I guess you could introduce yourself as I am his associate. I helped him on this case. This is what we came up with, or what we didn't come up with.
His associate specialized in technology and things like that.
All right. So I'm gonna say you are able to gather all your information. You have printouts and absolutely all of your mundane results, and that you
The book, I think.
what?
We should take pictures of the book and take it with us.
I was under the impression that at the end of this investigation he would be taking the book back.
Right, that's why I said take the pictures with us.
Okay.
We're not taking a book with us, but we're taking pictures.
Okay.
Oh, before I know this is gonna bite me in the butt at some point, but before I take the book, can I charge it with just a little bit of prime so I can track it just in case?
The book?
Yeah, just in case.
Tag it?
Yeah. The journal.
Are you bringing that up to other people as a?
No, I mean.
You just gonna do it?
Yes.
Okay. I'm gonna say that I'm not even gonna let you roll. You could do that. All right. I'm gonna say that you set up a meeting. You have all the you have the diary. You have all of the printouts of all of the research that you did and all that. And you call him and he comes over to your office and shakes your hand, introduces himself to Fluke, and they sits down and goes, so do you have any news for me?
Oh, just out of curiosity, how long ago was this? I don't know how much time went, but I'm assuming that since he did all that research, it was at least a couple of days or a day or two.
I'm gonna say,
A month or two, right?
what? I'm gonna say that with the amount of mundane work that you put in, especially if you drop all the rest of your cases for this, I'm gonna say that would have been a couple weeks worth of work, at least.
Okay, so I'm gonna reach my hand towards him to shake it, and then I'm gonna tell him, well, I'm sorry for the long wait. I want him to try to make sure that I was as thorough as possible.
and he shakes your hand and nods, and, and he has the expression of a condemned man waiting for his sentence. And what did you find?
So I'm gonna so I kind of like pause and I pull out the papers with all the searches I've done, and I spread them out, and then I'm gonna explain to him, I tried looking online, I tried seeing, just through the basics of the research, the different types of steps.
All your different methodology to to look her up.
Yeah, and I and then he shakes his head. I couldn't find anything.
Okay, let me take a quick look here.
Mm.
All right. I'm going to need. This is going to sound like a weird mix because you are trying to be empathetic, but you're also trying to manipulate him into dropping this.
Yes.
Normally, this would be a charisma empathy roll, but you're trying to convince him to drop it. So we're doing a different roll here. Now, I could say that Fluke could add into this, but I'll roll your roll first. And once again, you do have the option to do willpower, because you are trying your damnedest to have him believe there is nothing here. All right.
Yeah, so I'm assuming it's gonna be like an increased difficulty too, because like Arthur's conscious is kind of like bugging him. I'm sure that would add into it.
So 1 second.
Oh wait, so what was it? Subterfuge and manipulation, or?
It is empathy and manipulation, because empathy is because you are connecting to this person on an emotional level. Now, I in a weird sense, this is sort of like a perversion of the empathy role, but this is how you interact with other people. So I'm going to say this is probably going to how that's going to work. So,
okay.
And I'm going to say, because it's difficult, I'm going to drop one of your dice. So that's a 4d10. Okay. You do have a success and no failures, but I think you really want to ram this home. So
yeah, I'll use a willpower because it is for his safety too.
Okay. So
We should have tagged him wrong. I could have helped him nail it.
I mean, you could be posed as a secretary or something.
Well, if I didn't go, I didn't go.
Okay.
Consequences, damn.
Oh, that's a
Okay. So remembering that this is your willpower, it does not count against your successes. So maybe Fluke can try and add to this to do a roll himself, and we'll add the successes.
I will. So it is empathy and manipulation. 4 dice.
Okay, well, let me take a quick look at your
Difficulty.
let me look at your You know what? You are coming at this a different way than he is. So I'm going to say that you could be charismatic with this. Yeah.
Oh, 6 dice.
Okay. So let's try this again. Yeah. Drum roll, please. All right. I'm going to say that that's enough to to qualify as a 1 second. To qualify as a critical success. Barely. So he looks at all this information and takes a shuddering breath and goes, I want to thank you for putting in so much effort where so many told me I was just crazy, that I was wrong. It makes an incredible difference that you put so much effort into this. Thank you. I'll see to your fee and all that, but I appreciate the effort that you went into, and you can tell that he is. I'm gonna say that there's no point to roll, but you can tell that he has accepted what you're saying, but he's a broken man, and he shakes your hand and walks off. And you are certain that he is going to drop it, but he is stuck in his mourning. So I'm going to say that you were able to succeed, but you guys probably feel really shitty.
Oh, Arthur does.
Yeah, so yeah, sometimes wins don't feel like wins. So yeah, you were able to convince him to drop it, and he was able to walk away to walk away and try. You are certain that perhaps in time he will be able to move on from this, but this does not feel like you do not feel good about this. I think I could safely say. But you are able to maintain his safety, the veil of secrecy, and all of that. So this will sort of feel like a Pyrrhic victory, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm gonna say that
Out of character. Well, I didn't do it in character because my personal character wouldn't do it, but as a player I have to. Would we ever have been able to recruit this guy? It's a very bad idea, I know, but...
out of character, that could have been a possibility, but in so doing, you would be painting his bullseye would be on all of you.
The thing is do you want him as an enemy?
It's also one of these. In the fullness of time, he could have been, if any of his recessive, ability had hit, and you have, with all of your with all of your research and all of your attempts to feel him out, you are certain beyond a shadow of a doubt that they will remain recessive, as long as he is not exposed to things that'll bring it out. So in theory, yeah, you could have possibly brought him into your cabal, but that would have also have made you guys bigger targets. So that could have happened. I'm sorry if this was a bit of a downer, but I'm like, how my thoughts on this was like, well, how do you actually deal with this? And I'm sorry if I brought everybody down.
No, it was fun. It
Um,
was different.
Those decisions. It could have went in 20 different ways, so
there's that.
you had no way really.
And plus, I mean, we can always. I mean, Author's thinking as well. This is the best I can do for now.
Okay.
He's probably gonna like check in on him and sometimes, and maybe I'm pretty sure he's gonna investigate at some point too.
Okay.
He's gonna look into it a bit more, as safely as possible at a distance.
And maybe you can come back to this once you guys have solidified your position in the world better.
Yeah, a little bit more firepower too on our side.
So yeah, that's
I mean, I guess once we're buzzed, we can also just go ahead and do it.
so.
And I mean, and since I meditated on her once, I can meditate on her again.
Yeah.
I mean, we don't have to get closer. Assuming you can get tracked down by the thing. The meditations.
Okay.
Probably not, but who knows?
Yeah, so it's not goodbye or a loss. It's we're tagging out for now.
Yeah, you're putting this on the back burner to come back to it later.
Yeah.
Okay. So I think that'll do for now. Is there anything anyone wants to do, in your free time? Projects that you had in mind, or
I guess I would. I'll be right back, but I will probably be working on one of those thunder hammers I was talking about.
Okay. Well, then when you get back, we'll try doing a series of rolls. Anyone else have personal projects? You want to like role play, drown in your sorrows, or?
I think Arthur would probably have a drink at the office and then like swing by the guy's house and just kind of like scan it with Prime just to make sure that at least his home area isn't a few blocks around his house doesn't have like any supernatural entities or anything that might like bump into him, just to make sure.
Okay. All right. That sounds like that would be a a prime roll to sense it.
So that would be 4.
4. Do you want to use some quintessence to make this easier?
Oh, how am I on doing quintessence?
I think you're topped up.
Yeah, I'm at 5, and I'll use a quintessence.
Okay. So,
How do you mark quintessence?
you see that circle. You click one off, and since your avatar pretty much indicates your thing, you can
Oh, that's right. So okay.
So we'll click that aside for now. And since the shallowing thing that the werewolves had stepped in to deal with has passed, you can go back to your node and you'll refill that at any time. So let's say that would, so you are trying to do prime irritate -1. So prime, let me, where's the things? Yeah, you you scour up and down his block and the surrounding blocks and the blocks surrounding those blocks, and you could say with a absolute certainty that there is nothing that is anywhere near him that is likely to interact with him. You also go around his job, and you'll go back and forth. You would go over the route that he is most likely to take from his home to his job, and you scour everything, and you realize there's if you are very certain that if he is left alone, that there is nothing that is likely to kick him off. So he is safe until you guys. I guess what I'm saying is he is safe until you guys
Wake him up.
I was gonna say until you guys come back to him. When you guys come back to him, that's going to be we're gonna have to like reassess it. So, but as is, he'll be fine.
I think also what speaks to our benefit is that we convince him we put a lot of work in it. So if he ever does turn, he can come back and like, hey, we found some leads in the meantime.
Yeah. Because, yeah, you guys were pretty exhaustive. And considering everybody else just dismissed him, that does go for a lot. And what's more is, when you find that you want to try and interact with him again, it wouldn't take much to say we come into new information, you know. And considering you guys were so exhaustive, I think that would go a long way. So there is that. Is there anything else anyone wants to do before we stop the session?
No, I'm up on my experience, so I don't even know how much experience I have.
No, I'll help you with
25 before the session, I think.
Okay.
Was that not
that. Yeah.
They actually need to sit down and decide where I want to spend my experience.
I can help you with that later.
You're so helpful.
I did make the battery and the werewolves to charge the Priat. Okay, so
yeah. So
then I need to make the Thunder Force Hammer, and
right. Let me
I
pull
also
up.
want to make some kind of armor for the lot of us.
Okay.
Especially after a thing like today, where it's like, oh dear.
Okay. So what do you have in mind for the armor? Do you want like a medallion that like negates kinetic force?
I was thinking like hiding it as mundane armor.
Okay.
That doubles as /magic / improved kinetics.
So what it sounds like what you're trying to do is take a mundane armor carrier and soup it up for
Basically.
Okay. That's okay. So let me.
Well, I was thinking of how should I best disguise this that it's not too obvious for mundanes if shit goes on. And it's like, yeah.
Well, okay. Here's the thing.
Or am I overcomplicating things?
I think you're overcomplicating it because you got to remember, for the most part, when it comes to doing effects, you pay for all the paradox and all the other stuff up front. So when you change the reality of an object, it is now what it is. You can't retroactively be hit. So, and since you will be making this in your sanctum, any paradox you would do is already made coincidental. So there's that. But it looks, I'm going to say that considering what you're doing and you are already working on, I'm going to say that this would be you are doing your forces and matter spheres, and yeah, I'm going to say, probably prime to accomplish what you're aiming for. So everything's at 2. You'd be rolling on your highest one anyway. And you want to make sure that you want to make one for everyone, yes?
Yes, I would like to.
Okay. And I'm going to say that this is something that Jimmy can help you with.
Nice.
Because how you affect reality is, your techno magic, he could, I'll say that he could sort of help. It's so that should definitely be doable because your techno magic jives with other techno magic, generally speaking.
I get it.
Okay, so let me get to the thing. So I'm gonna say that roll. So each roll, because you're doing it with him in your sanctum, with all that. Give me a 5d10 roll.
Difficulty.
I'm gonna say you're just gonna do it like a flat one because so much of this is working for you. So yeah, that's one. You've made one. Okay, yeah. That's a success. That succeeds too. That succeeds. So give me, and that succeeds. So one more roll. Can I get one more roll?
Yes, you can.
Oh. Okay. All right. So you're able to make.
I am very consistent.
So you're able to make enough vests for everyone. I'm gonna say now if you want to work on your Thunderhammer thing, that let me bring up your. So that seems like that would mostly be a Forces sphere.
So pay $200 to this computer, or pay $700 to get a new computer. I have $200. I don't have 7.
So so give me a.
Heading to the soda.
All right. Well, I'll see you when you get back. All right. So, ouch. I'm gonna say that because you're go ahead and give me that roll again, because I think would be the same pool. Okay, yeah. So I'm gonna say, because you already made the you already made the pre-apt attachment earlier. That'll do. I can help you come up with stats for it, and a little later. But I say that should definitely that'll succeed. So you now have a Thunderhammer. I'll get all the stats and information for you a little later, unless you want them right now.
A little later is fine.
Okay, cool. So you have your Thor's hammer, your Mjolnir of great renown. Jimmy, is there anything that you want to do on top of it?
Not that I can think of right now. I mean, I'm
Okay.
good.
Well, then everybody gets 5 experience, and we'll end the session for today. All right. You guys are also. I'm gonna say that you. I believe. Fluke wants to study the. Your primer that will help you move forward without having a seeking. Yes.
Yes.
Okay. We'll come back to that next session, because I want to make sure that I have all the rules squared away. But I'll say that your advancement started with this one. And we'll. I'll check the rules again, but I think that we could get that going. And Jimmy, you wanted to basically wait until you have enough to bring up a sphere at the same time. Yes.
Yes.
All right. Cool. All right. I think that's it for this session then.
How much XP?
You'd get another 5, which would bring you up to 30 right now, I think.
Indeed.
All right.
Mike, I just have a question.
What?
Just out of curiosity, if Aurthur did use magic in front of Archie, the father, how close was he really? Like, would that have had awakened him, or was he still a few more pushes away? Was it barely a time bomb?
Well, no, I'd say that would have. I say that would have probably have put him on the path to awaken. That wouldn't have like been like, I am awakened or anything like that. But I'd say that would have raised enough questions that he would have started the search.
Oh. Okay.
Okay, let me put it this way. In theory, you may or may not have been able to talk him down from that, but that was, yeah. That would have been a thing.
Oh wow! Like there really was a lot of points where it could have just gone any direction in this game, huh?
Yeah.
That's good.
Hey, wielding the forces of creation, they have consequences. All right, I'm gonna stop recording now.